All right, so let's do a little bit of reviewing about the Pythagorean theorem. We know that if we have a right triangle, like we see in this picture, that the legs A and B are the two sides that are adjoining the right angle, as we can see it right there. And the hypotenuse is the side opposite the right angle. It's a diagonal line, and it's sometimes called C. The hypotenuse is always the longest side of the three sides of a right triangle. Okay, so what does the Pythagorean theorem state? Is that in any right triangle, the sum of the squares of the shorter sides, A and B, will equal the square of the longest side, C. Or in other words, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. To visualize the theorem, picture A squared, B squared, and C squared as actual squares with side lengths equal to the side lengths of A, B, and C. The areas of the two smaller squares, A squared and B squared, will always equal the area of the largest square, C squared. And so that's the mechanics or the principles behind the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, now the converse of the Pythagorean theorem states that if A squared plus B squared equals C squared, then the triangle is always a right triangle. For example, can the lengths of 16, 30, and 34 make a right triangle? Plug it into the theorem. You would just do 16 squared plus 30 squared and see if it equals 34 squared. If the answer to that question is yes, then it is a right triangle. However, if you do it, for example, like on the lengths of this triangle, 12, 12, and 24, if you plug those in and square them, you find out that on the left side you get 288, and on the right side you get 576. So they are not equal, so that means this could not be a right triangle. Okay, then we went on to talk about how if we have a line on a coordinate plane like this, we can actually find the length of that line by creating a right triangle on the coordinate plane and using the lengths of those sides to apply the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem can be used to figure or find the diagonal distance between points on a graph. Create a right triangle where the diagonal is C for the hypotenuse. So that's what we just kind of explained. So the bottom is 7, so 7 squared is 49, and the height is 10 squared, which is 100. So you get 149, the square root of which is 12.2. The distance from point A to point B is 12.2 units. Okay, so today we're going to do the Pythagorean theorem unit review worksheet. Now, some of the questions on that worksheet are also the problems we looked at recently about using the Pythagorean theorem recently. And so we'll work a couple of those as we get going on our worksheet. So, thank you very much.